Hello there, my latest video is featuring, Tommy Gibbons, the light heavyweight and heavyweight contender of the mid to late 1910s into the 1920s, the only fighter to take Jack Dempsey 15 rounds in a title fight, and as Dempsey himself said, trying to catch him on the chin with a clean shot is like trying to thread a needle in high wind. Let me just sign into this. I'll do it this way. You know, I always find it amazing with technology. Right. Apologies for being distracted. Right, okay, I'll crack on with video for now. I'll crack on with video for now. Bingo, there we are. Oh, I've really got distracted here. Right, okay, I'll leave that for now. Okay, I'll focus on the video for now. I changed my passwords this morning. It seems to be having a bit of a funny moment. So, let us focus on Tommy Gibbons. So, he lost just over 5 fights in over 100 fights, which is a remarkable record when you look at it. Let us go through his main opponents. So, Tommy Gibbons, starts out with a 4-fight series with none other than the great Harry Greb himself. Now, Harry Greb scored 2 wins and suffered 2 defeats to Tommy Gibbons in that 4-fight series. Gibbons also defeated Bob Mohart in a singular fight, also defeating great former light heavyweight Battling Levinsky, also in a singular fight. And against former lineal middleweight champion George Chip, Tommy Gibbons fought him on 5 occasions, scoring 5 wins from 5. He, of course, fought and lost in a singular fight to the great heavyweight champion Jack Dempsey, before then also gaining singular wins over dangerous light heavyweight puncher Georges Carpentier, who did avoid Harry Greb, and the dangerous light heavyweight and heavyweight contender Kid Norfolk, both Hall of Famers, of course. Tommy Gibbons lost a singular fight to the Fighting Marine Gene Tunney. He then had a 5-fight series, to another Hall of Famer, Billy Misk, a very good fighter who will be covered on video, of course. Tommy Gibbons scored 3 wins with 1 loss and 1 draw from that 5-fight series. Tommy Gibbons also scored a singular win over Buck Krause before scoring 4 wins over Clay Turner. Gibbons also scored a win over Jackie Clark. He scored 3 wins over the very experienced Chuck Wiggins and scored 1 win against former heavyweight Porky Dan Flynn. So from the 30 fights highlighted there, Tommy Gibbons scored 24 wins with 5 losses and 1 draw. So going on to his stats, KOs and rounds boxed, Tommy Gibbons scored 48 knockouts in his career. He scored 34 knockouts in 3 rounds or less, and he scored 15 KOs in the first round. Now Gibbons scored 1 KO against champion, 1 KO against a Hall of Famer. He never scored a KO against pound-for-pound rated fighter, and with very reduced numbers against rated fighters, Tommy Gibbons scored 1 KO against a rated fighter. Now, in terms of overall career rounds, Gibbons boxed a total of 750 career rounds. He fought a total of 15 title fight rounds, and he fought round totals of 160 rounds against champions, 148 rounds against Hall of Famers, and 204 rounds against pound-for-pound fighters. Now, Tommy Gibbons fought 78 rounds against top 10 fighters, 78 rounds against top 3 fighters, and 72 fights against ring champions. Although those last 3 stats there would be greatly increased had full ratings been around his whole career. Take the 5 fights with George Chip, the fight with Bob Mohar, etc., etc. They would have all been rated. George Chip, of course, would have been a top 10 fighter and a ring champion in his time, but sadly we don't have that information. So going on to the slide against champions, Tommy Gibbons had 15 fights against champions with 11 wins, 4 losses and no draws, and he defeated 6 individual champions. They were Harry Greb, Bob Mohar, Bartlin Levinsky, George Chip, Georges Carpentier and Kid Norfolk, and he scored knockout or stoppage over one of those 6 champions, that being Kid Norfolk. And when we go to the Hall of Fame slide, we see Gibbons had 14 fights against Hall of Famers, again with a winning record of 8 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw, and he defeated 5 individual Hall of Famers. They were Billy Misk, Harry Greb, Bartlin Levinsky, Georges Carpentier and Kid Norfolk, and like with the champions, he scored knockout or stoppage over one of those 5 Hall of Famers, that being Kid Norfolk. So going on to the final of the niche opponent categories, okay, Tommy Gibbons against pound for pound rated fighters. Now here he has his largest tally, a total of 19 fights. Gibbons scored 13 wins with 5 losses and 1 draw, and Gibbons defeated 6 individual pound for pound fighters, that being Billy Misk, Harry Greb, Bob Mohar, Bartlin Levinsky, George Chip and Georges Carpentier, and he scored knockouts or stoppage over none of those 6 pound for pound rated fighters individually. So going on to, okay, his record against rated opponents. Now, of course, as I've already highlighted, Tommy Gibbons fought a lot of his career in the pre-rating era, most of it in fact, therefore his numbers are significantly reduced over what they would have been. Tommy Gibbons had 7 fights under the reduced numbers, including 3 wins, 4 losses and no draws. He had 7 fights against top 3 rated fighters, including 3 wins, 4 losses, no draw, and 6 fights against ring champions, including 2 wins, 4 losses and no draws. Tommy Gibbons, okay, defeated 2 individual rated fighters, and he scored knockouts over one of those individual rated opponents from 2. So going on to title fight numbers, Tommy Gibbons only had 1 world title fight, that of course being the distance fight with Jack Dempsey, where Jack Dempsey had incredible trouble getting Gibbons out of there. Gibbons was a very good puncher in his career, but he was also a good survivor. He was very clever at tucking his chin in, spoiling. He could also come forward and fight aggressively. He was a versatile fighter. So we had the 1 title fight, Tommy Gibbons, that was a defeat for the world heavyweight title of course, and Gibbons made thus no title defences and scored 0 title fight KOs. Now Gibbons scored no wins against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters or ring champions. He also scored 0 wins against champions, Hall of Famers and pound for pound rated fighters. So there is Tommy Gibbons, okay, in terms of title fight numbers. When we go on to the final slide, titles won, he was never awarded any world titles. So with no world title fight wins, Tommy Gibbons captured no world titles, no lineal titles or no undisputed titles. But he was one of the major fighters of his time, a very dangerous fighter, who only lost, to fighters like Billy Misk, Jack Dempsey, Gene Tunney, Harry Greb, okay. Only those men defeated him in over 100 fights, and he beat many other good names besides that, including Norfolk and Chip and Carpentier, amongst others, including also defeating some of the fighters who defeated him, like Harry Greb, Billy Misk, etc., etc. Tommy Gibbons was an outstanding fighter. He'll take his place on my retired playlist, and I will be back soon with more videos. In fact, I've just realised why I couldn't sign in. My cap locks on. Never mind. I'm just losing my marbles. Yeah, more videos coming soon over coming days, weeks and months. I am the Boxing Librarian. There is the excellent Tommy Gibbons, and I'm out for now.